I'm already the perfect man. I can't get any better, and I lost to this street rat. Time to die.
Fatality.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Wake Up 3. We are your hosts, Cam.
And Molly. And this is a fighting game podcast from a couple who loves fighting games.
That is right. And as usual, we are going to start things out with a mix-up. I've got the mix-up today. Let's see how you do. This is a game I've come up with. It's a little simple. It's a short game. And it's called King or Armor King, where I'm going to just list a couple of their likes, hobbies, etc. And you're going to tell me if it's King or Armor King that I'm referring to.
Okay.
Cool. So, this character likes liquor and his older brother. King or Armor King?
I'm going to guess Armor King.
You're right.
Okay.
You are right. This character dislikes the tears of children.
That's got to be King, right?
Yeah, it's definitely. That one's definitely
Okay.
King. He runs an orphanage.
Yes.
He hates it when they cry. And fun fact, they actually both dislike Craig Marduk, so that was in the dislikes, but it was in both of theirs, so I just kind of cut it and wanted to share that.
Thank you for sharing that.
Of course,
This makes
yeah.
me love King and Armor King even more.
Yeah, same.
Fuck you, Craig.
Yeah, I'm right there with both of the kings when it comes to disliking Craig Marduk. One more. Hobbies. Fighting and TV. Simple hobbies.
That's a tough one. It's kind of a toss-up because they both fight.
Right. But one of them enjoys fighting and treats it as a hobby.
I guess I want to say King again.
Nope.
No?
It's actually Armor King that time.
Okay.
He's the TV guy. So he likes,
I guess,
he likes liquor.
gears and TV.
Yeah, liquor, TV, fighting.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
I think you passed, which puts me in the corner. So let's go into the news corner here, starting with Evo Japan and combobreaker. These have both happened over the last couple of weekends. We watched as much Fatal Fury and as much Street Fighter 6 as we could, and then I know that for Evo Japan at least, we watched some Third Strike and even a little bit of Tekken 8. And that's always fun.
Yeah.
It's always fun to just see these high-level matches. It's kind of like our sporting events, basically. So, any weekend we can just veg out on the couch and watch for like 3 days straight. That's the plan.
I do want to note that both combobreaker and Evo Japan had insane levels of Street Fighter 6 entrants. At Evo Japan, it was 7,000.
Yeah.
And then at combobreaker, it was the most signed up for game. So it had 1,300 or so. Tekken 8 at combobreaker was the number 2 at about 1,100. So really not that far behind Street Fighter 6. Number 3 though. Number 3 in terms of entrants at combobreaker was at 876 entrants, City of the Wolves. And I do want to say that at Evo Japan it had 256 because that was the cap. They wanted to do it all in one day.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to mention that as well because I didn't know that initially that Fatal Fury was capped to 256. And I was really sad that it was all just done on day one on that Friday. But now it makes a lot more sense.
I don't know. I don't really know logistically why they wanted to keep it for one day or why. Other than the fact that Salvatore Ganacci was at the venue day one. But aside from that, there were quite a few announcements at both of these majors.
There were. Let's start with Andy Bogard was playable at both of these events, actually. And we were able to see a lot of gameplay footage out of him. We still haven't received an official trailer yet, but I think he looks good. I think he looks very cool. And I know we're going to talk about him a lot in the next hour, so I'll just leave it at that for now. But another character that was playable at just Evo Japan this time was Elena. And we've seen her gameplay trailer, and we've also seen a lot of little videos on her special moves and all that. So let's talk about her a little bit. We haven't talked about Elena's gameplay trailer at all yet. She looks exciting. She's got everything you would expect, plus a couple of new tools. She's able to evade fireballs by going underneath them with some of her kicks now. So that's kind of scary for some of the Shodos or the Guile players out there.
And then, of course, she does have per iconic level too, but it
Right.
seems to be a this or that, so you can choose whether you want to do healing and incite rage in your opponent or use it for
Just
damage buff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
extra damage. We'll see how much the healing actually is. I'm not sure. I
Yeah.
think they said it was like 10 or 12%, which isn't a ton, but
In a pinch, that could change the game.
you're a player that really loves kicks, so I think that was what drew you to her initially.
Yeah.
What do you think of her classic outfit? Because I know they brought that back for outfit too.
Yeah, I do like that.
It looks good. Looks good.
I will be choosing that over over the Street Fighter 6 look. I think it's fine. There's nothing I dislike heavily about it. I think people kind of dunk on the hairstyle.
A little bit,
You
yeah.
know, like-
yeah.
Kitty scissors, but
I really like outfit 1 aside from the hair. I like the whole outfit. I think it looks really cool and good. I love the zebra pants. I like all their little jewelry. Let's jump into a couple other reveals. At EVO, Virtua Fighter gave us some big news, some brand new news. I guess just news, really. Wolf Hawkfield, the wrestler. He's back. He looks like a heel now, and that's about all I can really say about him because I honestly don't know Virtua Fighter very well. But there you go. You get a heel wrestler.
yeah.
And not to be topped, Tekken just announced Armor King as DLC number 3.
Wasn't there like a big announcement before Armor King?
There was a little reveal right before the Armor King. And I think this is another character that you're going to look forward to a whole lot more than me. Falcon.
Yeah. I think out of every Tekken character that could have been announced for Tekken 8, he was like the number 1 for me.
Yeah, he's who was missing for you to like fill that roster gap and make it feel complete.
I mean, I guess if you want to throw in Miguel too. But yes, Falcon was announced as the second Season 2 character who will be coming out in July, early July. So, fun summer times with Falcon. It's a fun Falcon summer coming up. He is my favorite Muay Thai fighter.
Plus, they gave him a new power-up because it seems like every character in Tekken 8, or close to it at least, most of the characters in this game have some sort of install. And yeah, he's no different. He's got some sort of all red. His body just like turns red sort
Well,
of.
it's like red lightning.
Yeah, it looks like red lightning is coursing through his veins and he is able to like armor through hits. I honestly don't know what it does.
The trailer did show off some outfits for Falcon. If you're into that, I think they look great.
Yeah,
I'm
they're
excited
nice.
about them. The unexpected thing that we already kind of mentioned was at the end of Falcon gameplay trailer that they showed at Combobreaker, there was a bit of a similar thing to Elena's gameplay trailer where it's like, okay, it's over. But it's not.
Right.
There's something else. Another character.
Yeah.
Did you see this coming?
No, I was absolutely shocked that they showed off who the next character was going to be because we'll get Falcon in, I believe, July. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're getting Falcon in July, and we already know who the third character is for, like, September or August.
It's just autumn, so I would say
October?
like October probably.
Yeah, you're probably right. October sounds about right. Yeah, I did not expect to know who was coming this soon, but it's Armor King, and he's the character that fills my void for the roster. So,
Yeah.
Season 2 is pretty exciting for us.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's shaping up to be really cool for this house.
One other announcement from EVO Japan was that there are going to be new Street Fighter 6 outfits for Overwatch 2.
It was a new version of MK1 dropped. Perhaps, I think definitively the final version of MK1.
MK1 Definitive Edition. So I think this is it for the game. It was just shadow dropped, just, hey, this is out today. So if you want to get into the game with all the content, buy it, $60. Oh, by the way, it's digital only. So there you go. Other than that, I've just got a Reggie the Orc going on in Oblivion. And I guess if you want to know more about Reggie the Orc, check it out on Twitter.
Oh, you posted about him? Or
No,
you are
but I
going
will.
to?
I will. I will by the time the episode comes out.
Okay. Yeah, check Twitter.
Yeah, for more Reggie the Orc updates. He looks very cool.
Look him up.
He's got a bandana and like long hair.
All right, shout out to Reggie.
I'm sure we'll have more to say about that game at some point.
Yeah.
But not today. Today, we're going to talk all about Andy Bogard, the better brother. So let's talk about Andy a little bit. He was born August 16th, 1972.
Damn.
Yeah, so pretty cool. He's the younger brother to Terry Bogard, train enjoyer. Andy is listed as 5'7" in Fatal Fury 1, but 5'8" in Real Bout 2, which takes place 3 years apart, which means that he grew an inch taller in his early 20s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good job, Andy. I don't know how you did that.
I don't know. I thought that was very interesting, and I just wanted to write that down. Like, wait, so he continued to grow throughout his early 20s, I guess. Yeah. Training will do that to you, I suppose.
Yeah, that Shiranui training.
Yeah, it's just pure muscle. Muscle height. His likes consist of training and pictures from his time in training with his master Hanzo Shiranui.
Wow.
And meditation. And his dislikes are dogs. He's
Andy.
scared of dogs.
Oh, okay.
I want to say it's either Real Bout 2 or one of the early KOF games, but there's an intro where he faces Blue Mary and then he jumps into Terry's arms if Terry's on his team. At the sight of her dog. So
oh my.
It's pretty fun. Yeah, he's just afraid of dogs.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if that's still the case in City of the Wolves, if they'll address that at all in his EOST. His favorite food is spaghetti.
Pasta.
Checks out. Yeah, his Fatal Fury 2 theme is pasta, and it rules. So that's where that came from. And his nicknames are the Human Weapon and Whole Body Weapon.
Wow.
Andy's probably cooler than you ever originally thought. I don't know how much you know about Andy, or if it's just merely surface level. But I really dug in this week, and he's very cool.
Yeah, I don't really know much about Andy, so I'm looking forward to this.
Well, he's generally a pretty quiet character whose main goal is always self-improvement. Unlike his older brother Terry, Andy actually trained and learned a real fighting style. He uses Kapoken, which is an ancient Japanese martial art focused on striking weak points and breaking bones. And he mostly does elbow strikes and palm thrusts with this technique. I mean, he does a lot of kicks and stuff too, but yeah, it's all supposed to be bone-shattering techniques that are immediately supposed to incapacitate his opponent. So he's pretty tough in that regard. But after mastering that skill, he also wanted to further improve his skills, and he trains with Master Hanzo Shiranui to learn Shiranui-style ninjutsu. And that's where the fire comes into play and a couple other things. This is where he learns more acrobatics. He is able to flip through the air and stuff at this point. That's probably where he learned his drill kick. They don't get into the specifics of that. But it's also where he learns energy projectiles. So he's able to surround himself on fire, shoot projectiles, and flip through the air after learning Shiranui stuff. Let's get into his moves a little bit. He's got a DP, a drill kick, energy projectile, elbow dash, backflip kick, and now he's got a demon flip and air projectiles in the new game. So he's pretty kitted out. All this to say, Andy has never beaten Terry in a sparring match. Weird, right?
Feels wrong.
I know. Doesn't that seem fake?
Yeah.
He's never beaten Terry.
That we know of.
No, it says that he's never beaten Terry.
Terry won't let the truth get out. He's probably killed people over it.
Yeah, maybe. Terry probably would kill. He's probably a railroad killer.
Yeah, he threw their bodies off the train at some random location.
I think the reason that Andy has never beaten Terry in a fight might be because Terry has more actual experience in street fights, making him better at adaptability and pure instinct.
Okay.
That's what he thinks anyways, and that's part of what Andy had listed. He's like, wow, Terry has more experience, and I'm never able to beat him. So Andy is continuing to train and improve with the goal to always beat his brother and surpass his brother, basically. Andy kind of seems like more of a lab rat, constantly practicing and learning new techniques.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I wrote down here, Andy equals practice, Terry equals vibes? Terry is fully aware of Andy's goals of proving himself and surpassing him. And Terry actually recognizes Andy to be his greatest living rival. To which I wrote, Geese? ? What about Geese? I mean, Geese isn't living anymore, but... Greatest.
Interesting.
Yeah. Terry constantly looks to improve himself as well by fighting stronger opponents, and this is basically just so he can continue to put the pressure on Andy. So he's actually kind of a good big brother in that regard.
Okay.
This is not a Terry episode, but it's kind of beginning to be, Terry crossover.
A little bit. A little too much. Back off, Terry. Get back on the train.
Terry shows up in everything. Yeah. So why does Andy fight, you may ask? Would you ask that?
I thought you just liked to.
No, so why does Andy fight? Andy and Terry are the adopted sons of Jeff Bogard. When Andy was 9 years old, Geese Howard shows up and kills Jeff Bogard in front of the boys. Well, Terry is full of rage and street fighting constantly to let it out, I guess, his aggression. Andy chooses another path. Japan. This is where Andy trains to defeat Geese. He also meets Mai here in this time, Mai Shiranui. Mai is the daughter of Andy's master, Hanzo Shiranui. And Mai just can't get enough of this determined little white boy. Yeah. Unfortunately for Mai, Andy is so focused on training and self-improvement that he really has no time for her at the moment. He doesn't really notice any of Mai's advances for the most part and just focuses on training purely. And now, finally, we are in Fatal Fury 1, because that was in the past. That was, pre-game. After training for a decade, Andy returns at age 19 to Southtown, USA, just in time for the events of the first game to take place. Terry and Andy meet up with Joe Higashi and learn of the King of Fighters tournament. Well, they're at Jeff Bogard's grave, so they're just kind of like mourning Jeff and kind of like talking for the first time, and then Joe shows up and he's like, "Hey guys, do you know about this tournament?" And they're like, "What are you talking about, Joe?"
And you see we're mourning here, Joe?
Yeah, right? So, yeah, they learn of the King of Fighters tournament via Joe, hosted by none other than Geese Howard himself. They're kind of pissed by that because Geese killed their dad. By the way, the King of Fighters tournament is actually what they call it in-universe in Fatal Fury, even though that's its own, game series. Andy and Joe don't make it to the finals of this tournament. They get knocked out beforehand. But Terry makes it all the way and defeats Geese once and for all. Andy feels a mixed sense of closure and moves back to Japan for now to continue his training. That's it for Fatal Fury 1. Fatal Fury 2. This takes place 2 years later. Andy is now 21 years old. After returning to Japan, Andy gets an invitation to the King of Fighters tournament from an unknown sender. He worries that it could be Geese again and enters the tournament to find out. Turns out the host this time is Wolfgang Krauser, half-brother of Geese Howard. Terry defeats Wolfgang Krauser because he's the one that advances all the way once again, and Wolfgang Krauser kills himself out of shame.
That is possibly top 5 most relatable. Someone losing to Terry and killing themselves in shame. You get me.
Top 5 reasons to kill yourself.
Hell yeah, Krauser.
Oh my god. It's not a thing you should laugh at, suicide.
No,
it's a serious thing.
No, it's not. But this fictional man doing this is really funny.
This extremely buff wrestler, grappler, gigantic muscle of a man. He's 8 feet tall. He's pure muscle. He looks like he's out of Fist of the North Star. He's that huge. And yeah, he's Geese's half-brother. And he loses to Terry. And instead of looking for self-improvement, he's just like, I'm already the perfect man. I can't get any better. And I lost to this street rat. Time to die. That is it for Fatal Fury 2, actually. So going into Fatal Fury 3, Andy Bogard is now 23 years old, so 2 more years have passed. Andy, back in Japan, becomes a teacher at the Shiranui Dojo Female students flirt with him on a daily basis, which strains the relationship that he's starting to form with Mai.
That's tough, Mai.
I feel like it might be the kind of thing that he doesn't necessarily even notice because he's just going through with his training and they're just being, flirtatious and stuff. And Mai definitely sees it. So in Fatal Fury 3, Andy returns to Southtown after getting a letter from Richard Meyer about the opening of Pow Pow Cafe 2.
Oh, yeah, I gotta get back there.
Oh, shit. Pow Pow Cafe 2? I'm in.
Next flight to Southtown, I'm there.
Yeah, so once in Southtown, he goes there with Mai. Andy and Mai go to Southtown together.
Trying to fix the relationship a bit.
Yeah,
Let's go away together. Let's get away from the dojo.
Right. Once in Southtown, Andy can sense evil afoot, and he takes to the streets without telling Mai. He can just tell. He's like, something's going on in my city. I can just feel it. Something's wrong here. Mai eventually finds out where he's at and confronts him, and she says something along the lines of, why didn't you tell me where you were going? Maybe I could have helped, or I would have said, it's too dangerous, don't go, whatever. And Andy says, it's my hometown. I have to protect it no matter what. And I knew you would try and stop me. Andy helps defeat the Jin brothers, which are two magical twin brothers that are in search of the Jin scrolls. But he gets a chest wound in the process. During his little story arcade ending, it fades out where he's holding his chest and he's like, I guess I won't be taking Mai on a date anytime soon.
Oh boy.
Like, whoa, what the heck? Is he dying?
Oh no.
But he's not dying. 1 year later, we get Real Bout Fatal Fury, and he is now 24. Geese Howard has collected the 3 Jin scrolls from the last game. He's looking for these scrolls so he can get some sort of power, immortality, etc. And he's back. He was not defeated once and for all in Fatal Fury 1. And Andy is also in town. Andy's in town for another tournament. This one isn't really about him at all. He's just kind of here for it, real bout. He's like, hey, I'm back. Gonna visit my fam. I've been hanging out with Mai and things have been good. Something like that, But in this one, Terry kills Geese Howard once and for all by throwing him off the tower to his death. After Geese's death, Andy and Mai leave Southtown together, vacationing and continuing to train. There are some cute pics of them during the credits, with Mai sleeping on Andy's shoulder in a car, visiting old friends, and hanging out inside Pow Pow Cafe. Moving 10 years into the future, with Garou, Mark of the Wolves. Andy is now 34, and he doesn't actually show up in this game, but he is referenced in Hokuto Maru's story. Ever since Geese's death, 10 years prior, Andy had been training Hokuto Maru in the ways of Kapoken and Shiranui ninjutsu. Andy sends Hokuto Maru to Southtown, actually second Southtown at this point, because the first one was destroyed in the Geese Howard battle in this giant gang war. But, that was unrelated to Andy. So that's for another time. Andy sends Hokuto Maru to second Southtown to fight in the latest King of Fighters tournament, to see what his small apprentice has learned. So he's kind of testing Hokuto Maru a little bit to see what this little tiny monkey boy is all about. In Hokuto Maru's ending, Andy leaves him a note that says that he's proud of Hokuto Maru's progress, and that going forward he would no longer be his teacher, instead being his rival, and that they will cross paths again in the future. In City of the Wolves, they don't say that part on the note, but, that's where we're at. So they will cross paths one day.
Very soon.
Very soon.
That's pretty intense. It's
Yeah.
an intense note.
It's pretty cool. And you also see Andy spying on Hokuto Maru from behind a tree. Not really spying. He's standing out in the open, but Hokuto Maru doesn't notice because he's just doing training on his own. But yeah, Andy is just standing behind him in one of the little art pieces at the end. So it's kind of cool. That's it as far as his story goes, because we don't know what happens in City of the Wolves just yet. We'll have to update that later on. But I do want to mention some non-canon things. There are a ton of games that he's appeared in. He's been in 30 plus games. I want to mention a couple of notable things. Let's talk about the King of Fighters series first off. In most King of Fighters games, Andy is usually on Team Fatal Fury with Terry and Joe. There's also a running joke from the very first KOF game, KOF 94, about Mai always wanting to be on a team with Andy, and Andy always feeling bad about having to choose his brother over her. Yeah, so he always feels bad about it, but he's always just like, sorry, I gotta go with my brother, and we're going with Idiot Joe. So, sorry, I don't even want to be there. In KOF 95, Mai finds out about the tournament before Andy, and kind of blows up on Joe as soon as he finds out about it, because, in her quote, Andy's going to team up with you guys no matter what I do. And she just blows up and storms out of the room. So Joe actually tells Andy this, and he's just like, hey, we're going to be in the tournament together. By the way, Mai knows about it, and she's mad. She's really mad. So
Joe's such a meddlesome.
Yeah, so that just leaves Andy to pick up the pieces like, what the fuck? In KOF 97, Mai shows up to the tournament in a wedding dress, adding to the pressure that Andy feels to marry her.
Oh my.
Oh my, indeed. Yeah. She's like, hey, Andy, look what I'm wearing. And all the guys are like, oh, Andy, look what she's wearing. And he's just like blushing and like, oh gosh.
Wow, okay.
In KOF 99, Mai joins Team Fatal Fury, making it a team of 4.
Whoa.
Yeah, that game is unique. I found out. I had never played KOF 99, but this game has 3 teammates and 1 striker where you're able to call them out and they do random little cameo style moves.
Okay.
Not random, but you know what I mean.
Random.
Yeah, they just come out and do something at random. No. But yeah, you have a striker and 3 playable characters. Kind of interesting, yeah. So
SNK's always changing it up, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're always doing something a little different.
Yeah, so she finally gets to be on the team. It's a team of 4. They take down the Nest's base, and Terry gets caught in the explosion, and everyone thinks that he's dead.
Ooh, this sounds like a fun story.
Yeah, and there's a train going on in the background as I say it. So yeah, in 1999, everyone's like, oh no, did Terry Bogard die?
Terry blew up?
Terry blew up! And they're all just like upset about it, I guess. In King of Fighters 2000, however, it's revealed that Terry survived the explosion and just didn't contact anybody for a year. Except for Blue Mary, who he had been hanging out with the entire time.
Because he's a rat.
He didn't tell the rest of his like friends or family, brother, anything. He's just like, hey, I'm alive, by the way. No, he's just been hanging out with Blue Mary for the last year.
Yeah. You let everyone believe for over a year that you were dead.
Yeah. Terry's a rat.
Yeah, that's rat behavior. And Blue Mary gets a rat badge too. You know about him, and you're not spilling the beans?
Yeah,
You're not telling Joe and letting him spill the beans?
So, yeah, in KOF 2000, it's revealed, oh, by the way, Terry's alive. He's been alive for the whole time, and he's just been hanging out with Blue Mary for a year, and he didn't tell anyone that he was alive. So everyone's been worrying and thinking he was dead for a year. And Andy joins up with them after finding out that Terry is alive, and ditches Mai in this game, basically, so he can be on his brother's team.
No.
And that means that Team Fatal Fury in this game is Terry, Andy, Blue Mary. So he had to ditch Mai, and she's upset by that, but, you know, it's his brother. What are you going to do?
That might be Andy at his weakest, lowest point right there so far.
It might be. And then, after that, he sits out of KOF 2003 and KOF 11. He's not in the next 2 games.
Yeah, he was getting, scolded by Mai for 2 games.
No, actually, he sits out to take care of his disciple Hokutomaru, who had fallen sick with the mumps.
Oh.
So he's like, sorry, I can't fight. There's more to life than fighting. I'm going to take care of my weak little monkey boy disciple. So he takes care of Hokutomaru for, I guess, 2 years. Sounds like a long time. And in Street Fighter 6, he shows up. He hangs out in Pow Pow Cafe 6 to hang out with Terry, I guess, and high-five him, hang out in the background, hang out with Mai, and travel Metro City with Mai. You get to see him in quite a few of her World Tour cutscenes, it turns out. So. Oh,
okay.
So yeah, Andy is actually in World Tour, which is kind of fun. I didn't know that.
And he's in Terry's Walkout too, right?
He is, yeah. He's, depending on what player you are, you could either be player 1 or player 2, and on one side you'll get Joe, and on one side you'll get Andy. So that's a pretty cool Easter egg. Beyond that, yeah, like I said, he's been in tons of things. Pachinko games, Neo Geo Pocket games, other handheld games, 3D games. Mobile games, dating simulators. Yeah, I know.
Why?
Yeah.
Did Mai make that?
I don't know. Apparently he was in 15 different mobile games, which is insane to me. Isn't that crazy?
Sounds like a lot.
That almost doesn't sound real.
Mobile game.
It almost doesn't sound real. Mobile games have been getting made since like 2007 at this point. So I guess there's a lot of them. Yeah, he's in Days of Memories and KOF for Girls, which are both games that are dating simulators. Featuring just characters from the KOF and Fatal Fury universe in general.
Okay.
And he's one of the options.
Ooh.
Yeah. KOF for Girls, I thought was a funny title, but
Yeah,
that was a Japanese release. I don't think we got that one. He's in 4 different anime titles. Fatal Fury Legend of the Hungry Wolf, which is like a 45-minute TV short. Fatal Fury 2, which is like an hour-and-a-half long TV movie. Fatal Fury The Motion Picture, which I want to see that one. We're going to have to watch that because I've seen clips and it seems interesting. That's the one where Shadow Andy shows up for the first time. And he makes a few appearances in some of the games as well. It's just like the dark version of Andy. And that's actually kind of where some of these real bout moves come from that he's going to have in City of the Wolves.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
that sounds cool.
Yeah, Shadow Andy. He fights with a lot more ferocity, you know? Like takedown, I'm going to absolutely break you style moves. And yeah, part of what the Shadow Andy thing is Mai gets captured by whoever the villain is in that movie, and then you just see Andy standing on a rooftop in shadow, and he's wearing just an all-black outfit, and you can see his eyes, and they're just, like, dead serious. Like, you done fucked up.
That's the only thing I've seen of that, and yeah, it looks really cool.
He's like, you messed up. You took you could have taken my brother, and it would have been fine, because he would have just Buster Wolfed you, and then asked if you were okay.
Yeah, and maybe let you pretend to blow him up, and then he could hide for a year and not tell anyone he survived.
Right. Exactly. But no, you took and you messed up. So we're going to have to watch that one and maybe review it. He was also in KOF Destiny, which was a CGI web series that was a tie-in to an MMO mobile game of the same name.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Weird, right?
That is a lot going on.
Take that in. Web series for an MMO mobile. And I want to move on to a couple of Andy quotes that I thought have been interesting throughout the years. I read a lot of Andy quotes from all of his endings and all that. A lot of them are kind of like broken English from the translations just not being very good. And yeah, I'm just going to read them verbatim because I think they're great. Wubba wubba, I'm in the pink today, boy.
What? Good lord, I did not expect that.
No. He says that in Fatal Fury Special as a win quote against Rio. So that's going to be a very rare quote because Rio is the hidden boss in the story mode.
Okay.
So that's like real weird, but also kind of hidden, you know? Wubba wubba. I'm in the pink today, boy.
Why does he say that to Rio?
I don't know. I really don't know. Why would you say that to anyone? Here's the next one. What in the name of the great ice cream salesman are you doing here? He says this versus Mai in Fatal Fury 3.
What
the great ice cream salesman. Something interesting about Fatal Fury. There seems to be some sort of ice cream god or salesman or something going on because this isn't the only time that's come up.
Interesting.
Geese Howard said in like Fatal Fury 1 or 2, I think it must have been Fatal Fury 1. Maybe it was special. I don't know. Anyways, he says, "Die, you pin-headed son of an ice cream maker," as one of his win quotes. Next one. Wow, I throb with serious power.
Oh.
That's from...
Interesting choice of words, Andy.
I know, right? That's from Real Bout Fatal Fury Special. It's his win quote.
Okay. All right, I guess go off, Andy.
Throbbing with power. Another one. You move like an elephant in a tutu. KOF 95 win quote.
To just anyone, or?
I think it's just like one of his random ones.
Oh.
It's like one of like 2 or 3 that you could potentially get.
It's just a unique Andy diss.
Just kind of strange. Like,
sorry if he hit you with that.
Like, good one, Andy. Haha. In fighting, concentration is, Gee, I forgot. That's his win quote for KOF 96.
We supposed to believe Andy's some kind of doof?
Yeah, we're supposed to believe he's kind of a doofus, I guess, but I think he's just a lot more like silly in the King of Fighters universe than he is in Fatal Fury.
Interesting.
That's what I've discovered through all of this. Because in Fatal Fury, it seems like he is a lot more respected by people, and that's the one where like all the ladies think he's dreamy. And in King of Fighters, he's like, what's fighting? Here's another one. You can't run. You can't hide. I'm a force of nature. And that's a win quote from King of Fighters 2002. It sounds really creepy. A little scary. That might have been a Shadow Andy moment.
Probably.
I assume that's him telling somebody off that like kidnapped Mai or something. And then one final quote. Actually, did we have anything else we wanted to say before this quote? Because I'm gonna send us off with this one.
Wait, this is it?
Yeah.
We can't speak after this quote?
Yeah.
Nothing can be said? I'm concerned now. What? I'm worried. Like, should I try to say something? What should I be trying to say right now? What do you want me to
I don't know.
Comment on?
Any last words?
What?
No, I guess I can just go for it. Let's just go for it, and then we'll go from there. One final quote to end with. After defeating Krauser in Fatal Fury 2, Andy looks at the sky, does his victory pose, and says, "Live manly, my sons."
Wow. What a way to send us off.
Yeah, so that's Fatal Fury Andy quote. Fatal Fury 2, actually. Throughout this last week or so of Andy research, I have grown to really like this character. I think he's a lot of fun. He's not always serious, but he's still a pretty serious character at heart. Yeah, I really enjoy everything I've seen. So that's how I feel about Andy at the moment, and I'm really looking forward to his inclusion in City of the Wolves. How do you feel about Andy after hearing about him a little bit more?
I think pretty good. I was a little bit concerned at first when you said that he disliked dogs, but then, he described it as more of like a fear of dogs.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I can understand that.
It's just one of those silly things. And like I said, Andy is... He's got a silly side to him, and they're not afraid to make him look silly, but he's definitely not like the clownish younger brother or like a joke or anything like that, I would say he's more serious than Terry. He takes his training very seriously, and he's always looking to improve, and he's always looking to defeat Terry. So personally, I really hope he's finally able to take down his train-dwelling brother once and for all in City of the Wolves.
Yes, and meet up with Hokuto Maru and
Mai.
And Mai, of course. Yeah, see Mai's new outfit. I think the standout things that I learned about Andy in this episode were about him going to Japan, because I never really knew the origins of him meeting Mai, like how they met, and I knew that he knew, the Shiranui arts, so he had to have trained with someone related to Mai. But yeah, learning all of that was fun, and also learning that his style is like a fusion of the two arts.
Yeah, he's always evolving, and with City of the Wolves, he seems to be continuously evolving as well, learning all these Akuma moves. So my thought is, has he just been hanging out in the Capcom universe somewhere with Akuma, just training in a cave, just learning how to do like teleports and stuff? He has like a smoke style teleport where he's able to do like a disappear, like he disappears into a cloud of smoke and moves forward. So he's got that now. He's got all of it. My theory is that he's been training with Akuma for like the last decade.
It sounds like it checks out.
Or maybe, maybe not a decade, because he was training Hokuto Maru. Yeah. But it seems like for the last 2 years, from like 2006 to 2008, he was just training with Akuma somewhere, which is kind of cool.
I think it fits. That was cool. Thanks for the Andy stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun with it, because the whole time I was researching him this week and learning everything I possibly could about Andy, I was having fun with it. So Yeah, I hope you had fun as well.
I can't believe you held that quote in for so long, that final quote.
Oh my god, yeah.
I wouldn't be able to hold it in. I would want to say that to you all the time once I learned about it.
Yeah, I found out about that so early on in my note taking because it's from Fatal Fury 2. And I was just like, yeah, this is where I want to end it.
All right. And with that,
live manly, my sons.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of Wake Up 3. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at wakeupthreefgc, and you can find me, your host Molly, on Twitter at kahnkut, that's KAHNKUT. Cam, where are you?
I am on Twitter and most other social media at bigruckonline. This is Wake Up 3, signing off.
Bye.
Pour one out for my homie who just died in front of me.